Good morning, and good morning. I'm back, and it's cold in the house. But today is supposed to, I think, get up to the 70s. So that's very interesting to me because, me and the chill, we do not agree. We just don't. But it's supposed to be a nice day. How about your plans for the weekend? What do you have going on? Um, I have an open house tonight that someone moved to a new location for their business. So I was invited to that. And then Mardi Gras, I don't know if I'm going to go to some of the parades. Most of them are in Mobile, but I know there is a big one downtown here. And I don't know if I'm going to go, but it certainly sounds kind of attractive. I don't like driving it to the event. I like the event itself, but I don't like the drive because there's a lot of people. Everybody's out to celebrate, and it is a good time. There's also the at the Kukua Institute. I think they're having like a gathering too, also tonight. So there's some stuff going on, and I have to just decide what I want to do. But I'm certainly looking forward to enjoying my weekend, relaxing just a little bit. Not as much going on with our church as has been, but we've been very busy. Our pastor's anniversary was last Sunday, 20 years, and he's still young. Yeah, he still has youth on his side, so that's a good thing. Good morning, Joan. How are you? Good to see you in the space. Good to see you. How's your week been so far? Has it been a good one? You can just say yes or whatever you want to put there. I was just saying I've had a pretty good week. Looking forward to the weekend. Trying to plan myself a schedule where I can get off of sugar again. For some reason, since Christmas, more people have given me things to try, and I try them and I like them, and they're sugary. So I have to get back off of that. Haven't gained any weight from it, but that's because I probably do my stairs 10, 12 times a day and park farther away from where my uh, the event is. I try to park my car far away and just do the stairs if I can and not walk. Okay, so you're doing well. Good, good. You enjoy, Jim. But anyway, today our word is ardent. And the reason I chose the word ardent is because we've gotten away from being excited, enthusiastic, and really kind of happy. We're distracted. We're just a distractive bunch of people. We're living our lives on, it might be what we're hearing, what we're seeing, what we're watching kind of get further and further away from us and become smaller and smaller in terms of helping with our personal excitement. We just lose it. We don't know how we lose it, except we know we're distracted. And there's just so many things. I mean, we can turn on the TV and, it's either going to be an advertisement or it's going to be, a news show or some kind of, pundit commentary of something that gets us off in our brain. And we never sometimes can get refocused onto what it is that we want personally. What do we want in our lives? And that's one of the things I've been trying to work on. What do I want in my life? And sometimes we have to turn off the TV and turn off the radio and maybe meditate, maybe pray, maybe go to sleep. Maybe just socialize with people that aren't maybe talking politics, religion, weight, those kinds of things, and just letting us be whoever we are. Having that conversation of what I call kindness. A conversation of kindness is one of acceptance. We love seeing people because we love people. We're not going to look at them and constantly think, well, what do I need to change about them, or what is it that I don't like about them, or it's like leave that out. Leave that out. Just speak to people on the level where they're at. And if they're at a level where it's too low for you, if it's too much cursing, if it's too much anger, too much confusion, too much chaos, sometimes we have to speak to that. It's like, girl, I'll catch up with you later when you're done being on your rant and raving thing. And I sometimes will do that. If you talk to my daughter, sometimes I get tickled at what she's upset about, and I try to, with the little bit of laughter, I'm trying to downgrade where she is for her. I'm already off of it. I don't think it's necessary. Like, I'm not a person of road rage. So when I'm driving, I'm not interested in doing that. And I know that the temperature has been turned up in our world here in America. I know for sure it's been turned up, and we sometimes are almost rude to each other for no reason at all, or we can't figure out the reason if we're the target of the what I would call the nastiness. We're the target. And I think I told you all about me being at the traffic light last week and trying to turn onto a main road, but there was a car that was already in the lane where I was trying to get into, and I had my signal on. Well, another car, a large Jeep, decided that they didn't like the fact that they wanted to get there and not let me, good morning, PG, and not allow me to get in that lane, even though they were in the middle lane. I was closer to the lane. And the truck was turning midway where you could go into another little section that just shortened the path into the parking lot where they were trying to have access to. And they gave me the middle finger. I was absolutely like, is that for me? Did they do that to me? And I said, well, probably not. It's probably to somebody else. But then I'm thinking, well, no, they're on the right side. They're on my right side, which means they're in their driver's seat. So that's probably for me. So we drive around the corner. They give me the finger. We drive up the street. They gunned their car, ran in front of me to get in front of me, which they did. And, but they were caught at the light. So at the light, I was right behind them again. And as we're going through the light, I have to make a left turn into the subdivision. And next thing I know, I see the finger again. And I said, that was for me. What did I do? So sometimes we don't even know that someone is having a bad day and you are in their way, So we have to learn how can we get back to what it is that we're excited about? We believe, we want, we desire. When do we get back to that? How do we get back to that? It's pretty tough. So I found a poem this morning. I haven't done some poems in a while because a lot of times I had some other little things that I set it up with. But good morning, Maurice. Good morning, PG. Good morning, Joan. And it says, I am the one, and it is by Gajayan Mishra, 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 Mishra. And it says, I am the one. I am the one to advocate happiness of humanity and 60. And it says, and I love all the animals and all living entities happy. And the same time, equally, I know and love that I'm a part and parcel of truth. I am in favor of love and universal love. Universal love. I know who I am, and I am happy to see you. Sometimes we have to say that we're happy to see people, even if they aren't happy to see us. I'm happy to see a lot of people. I'm happy to see that the world still exists and that, we're not at war, and we can extend, conversation and kindness and love to others who may not be equally as kind to us, even though we extend the olive branch, we extend it. But we can't always say that that's the way life will be for us. And so we have to look at the fact that even though they may be doing one thing, we may try our best to remain and get back into being ardent. Ardent is enthusiastic or passionate. It says we can be avid, we can be fervent, we can be zealous, we can be wholehearted and eager about whatever makes us excited, hot blooded, earnest, sincere. We can be keen witted, committed to whatever it is that we're dedicated to. Committed. How many of us are committed to the things that we used to do? Even if age has slowed us down, it still doesn't say that we can't do what we were doing. We just may not be able to do it as fast as we can do it. We may have been able to do 10 of something. Now we can only do 4 of something. Okay. We're still doing something. We still are trying to keep up what it is we know that we can love and loves us back in terms of seeing it go to completion. It's the same thing true of friendships, love ships, family ships, all of those. How do we keep it going even if they've stepped on a nerve, ticked us off, put us in a position? And that could be with coworkers. It could be with people on the street. It could be like the person I obviously ticked off because I was in a space that he wanted, you know. And sometimes we have to realize that every space that we're in, even though we're in it, somebody else may want it. And therefore, that may take away our joy. I don't want my joy stolen. And I've noticed that many people are so caught up in the day-to-day of what's going on in Washington, what's going on overseas. And I think, don't get me wrong, I think we have to pay attention to that. We have to. We have to pay attention to what's going on in the world. But it shouldn't distract us from the things that we love to the point where we become totally, interested in the worldly stuff or the next door neighbor stuff, and we forget our own stuff. We just can't do it. So when we break the word down of ardent, my A is for avid, having or showing a keen interest and enthusiasticness for something, whatever it is, it's yours. If you write poetry, if you're a vlogger, if you're, a TikToker, if you're, they're social, but they're fun. If you're a Facebook Live, like what I do, whatever it is that you do, if you're an author blooming, get back to blooming in what it is that you love. Tell your story. Look back on what it is that makes you happy, and sometimes telling your story may also shed the guilt, shed the shame, shed the love, because sometimes we have to fall back in love with who we are just by the fact that it is what it is. We cannot change all the things we've been through, but we can change how we go forward from where we're coming from. That's what we can do. Yeah, appreciate. Get back to appreciating who we are as individuals. So I said avid. Avid is also says that it's zealous. You can also become fanatical, wholehearted, insatiable, meaning you can't get enough of yourself. Meaning that you're not pompous. You're not building yourself up. It's just that that sometimes the best things that you put out are the things that you have in. If you've studied stuff, if you've written stuff, if you've gone places, all those things kind of set you up for what's next. How do I move on from where I'm at? My R of ardent, AR, is for rap. Now, rap has gotten a bad rap. It's gotten a bad WRAP, but rap is it's a type of popular music originating among African American communities in which words are recited repeatedly and rhythmically over a pre-recorded, typically electronic instrumental backing. And the thing about it is that people don't realize that a lot of the songs that young people are, hearing now that are, I would say the background to the words that are being stated words and music added together help you remember, what it is going on, and so that's why rap, has always been, once it started coming up, it started really making its presence through bebop and all of those kinds of things, which says, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna rhyme it. I'm gonna make it where it's stuck in people's heads. And for the longest time, I remember, "Don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge." Y'all remember that? Notoriously out there. I mean, everybody knew, culturally, it had made a big, big, splash up. Everyone knew, that rap, but rap is also communication. Okay, it's communication, and it says it's basically a way to look at chat, to be colloquia. You formed a column of people, or a section of people, or the world of people who understand what it is that you may put down something in rap that is retained in memory. And it says it's also a way of conferencing and dialogue and discussion. It's prose, prose is almost it's almost like poetry, but it may be, done in such a way that it's memorable. It's memorable poetry. And it says it's talk, it's ventilation. How many of us have just vented, about big things? And then we realize, oh, there's a song about it. Let me listen to it. Let me listen to it, because it's giving me confidence that there's something to this. And yes, respectable. It my from some reason that section small today. Respectable, absolutely. We deserve to have respect, and sometimes if we have lost our respect, then other people will lose theirs, which to me goes hand in hand with that whole thing of escalating problems. If sometimes we know the problem exists, but to tie into it or to buy into it wouldn't be a good thing, you know. And I'm not one to ever want desiring to promote someone's further misbehavior if they started it. I just leave it, let it go. My D for ardent means I'm devoted. I'm devoted by what it is that I am ardent about. If I'm a writer, I'm going to write. If I'm a singer, I'm going to sing. You know, um, Whatever it is that I've taken up, as part of my care, my love, my what I believe is good for me, then that's what I want to do. So it says, devoted is very loyal and loving, faithful, true blue, staunch, steadfast. I always remember that word, steadfast. There's a song that I want to be steadfast, always abiding, you know, and it says constant, committed. Good morning, desire. Come on now. You have to have a desire in order to be ardent. Yes. You have to keep the flame high, even if it gets down to a dim light, if it's still there, that means there's still possibility in it. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you. Good morning, Carney. So we look at devoted also meaning committed, dedicated, devout, you know, fond, loving, admiring, affectionate, caring, attentive, warm. And there it is again, ardent, which is the word that we're working on today, that we are and we can be ardent. We can know what we want to do, and we can easily be distracted from it, because I think that's what I said when I set up the notes for this vlog today, is that we're so distracted. There's just so many things that can take us away from what it is that we love to do and what it is that we do well. And some of us do not do distraction well. We don't, because once we're distracted, we can't get back on track. Come on now, we cannot. You know, I remember when I was little, and I was in the first grade, and I remember my teacher telling my mother, she says, "I don't know why," and she had a real high voice. "I don't know why Why, Sandra is always distracted? Well, I had distraction at home. You come from a family of 10, there's people everywhere. So you're constantly looking around. But whenever they hurt my feelings or something, I would go and sit in my closet. I told you that I had a closet there that I would go sit in and read. So it wasn't that I couldn't do stuff. It's just that by the time I got to school, I was still distracted and wanted, because I had gotten used to seeing what everybody was doing. Almost a nosy kind of kid. That was me. I wanted to see what everyone was doing and where they're at. And, my mothers would always say, go sit down, go sit down. And eventually I did. But desire and being someone who demonstrates certain things, that's good. That's good. We must demonstrate what it is that we do and we love, and we must have a desire to stay into it. Plain and simple. Now, my E for ardent is involved. How many of us get involved? Sometimes we just on the peripheral. We just standing back and looking, even though we are good at stuff. And sometimes we never know that we're good at anything because we won't try it. It's easier just to listen to the conversation than to be a part of it for some people. Okay. But I feel that for me personally, we should all have our own levels of involvement. Certain things I just want to listen. I don't want to be involved. Whereas other things I need to be involved because I feel that there's importance in it. So I said involve, develop gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form is what the word involve means. To develop, to experience, yes, Joan, to experience stuff for yourself. There's other people that can tell you how things are, but until you experience it, you may never really get the real sense of what it is or how it feels to you. If it's comfortable, if it's painful, if it's amusing, you don't know if you've not experienced it. So that's very good. So being involved also says that we will go through from simple to a more complex form of once we understand how things work for us. We will develop things, we will progress, we will make great progress, it says, and advance, move forward, make headway. These are all the things it says that we're involved. We become more mature. If I know that I've been working 25 years as a scientist, doing experiments, documenting my evidence, and writing in journals, excuse me, I'm involved. I'm involved. And when I leave that, I will miss it because it's been apart. 25 years is a long time, And I think this is just me personally. I ran into some of my ex-co-workers at my job, and they were saying, like, there's just so much chaos and so many things going on at the government, because that's where I worked for 28 and a half years, of which almost 3 years were part-time. So but it's 32 years total. And I just remember when I see those folks, they're telling us real stories, real time of what's going on. So their involvement is so much different than mine can be. Mine is purely whatever I hear on TV or whatever I might see or might hear from them when I see them. That's it. But I have no experience in it. I don't know anything about it. But to be involved in it says I'm experiencing it. I have to make a decision of what I'm going to do, what's right for me, what isn't right for me. How do I go about doing that? So the level of involvement may be how mature I am. Am I grown enough up in the area that I can handle what's happening? Or am I on probation? And even with the federal system, you're given 3 years before you're fully vetted in the system. So you don't even realize it, but for the first 3 years, you're still on probationary status. And as I said, I worked all of those years, and so I know what it is to we're having worked all those years, but still maybe having to leave, um, not because I want to, but because I'm forced to, or they're basically getting rid of the area that you're a specialist in. But anyway, to be involved also says to expand, to enlarge, to spread yourself further, to extend, to alter your current information to new information, to change, transform, adapt. And it says that you could also metamorphosis or be someone who is differentiating. So, when we look at ardent, that means we are still looking at an I thing. As long it's in my control, I can do it. It's in my control. I can read this. It's in my control. I can write this. It's in my control that I can paint this, sing this, whatever it is. It's in my control. But the things that aren't in your control, you have to acknowledge them too. You have to acknowledge them and say, will this steal away from the things that I love to do? Because now I see limitations being placed on me on what I'm told that I cannot do. So, and I imagine that people that live under certain conditions on a regular basis, they understand, what, walls and fences and, pretty much, determination of where their place is. you know um I just say, as much as you can, get back to you. Try and normalize yourself on every day, because we can't change everything we see. We just can't do that as much as we'd like to, but it cannot be done. My N of ardent is for nature. What is the nature of what's going on in you? And it says the nature is the sum, the total of the forces of work throughout the universe and how it affects you, you know. So we know that there's things going on that have to do with us every day. It could be the wind, the sun, it could be, that kind of nature. It could be, things changing in the world that may affect you. It could be the nature of how you're standing, you know, or what is the standing of you and your family or in your job, or all those kinds of things. There's nature to it. And sometimes we have to put things in what they call, it says here, description. It could be humor. It could be personality. It could be the type of things we're dealing with. Necessity. Thanks, Joan. Is it necessary? Sometimes it is. Sometimes some of the things that we have to do are necessary, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes it might be a wait and see, just depending. But the nature also talks about it being the essence of where we are, the mood of what it brings us to. Sometimes we don't even recognize the moods that we're in, but when we watch things too much, or we listen to too many negative things, we can't get back to where the positiveness is. It's difficult for us. It's just difficult. And then the nature is also the quality of what's going on for you, in order for you to say that I'm back to what I'm ardently interested in doing. You know, if you've lost some interest in doing some things, put it in the thread. Just say yes or no. You can say yes or no. I've lost, being ardent, or I found it again, or whatever it is we want to write something in there. And my T, yay, my T for ardent is, well, what would you put for your T? I gave you two things I know. Bad teacher gave you two things to do at once. If you can write to either one of them, it's fine. But what would you put for your T? And what would you get back to, in terms of being ardent? And have you been able to shift away of being ardent for something, for whatever the reason? And let's face it, sometimes we don't even know the reason. We just go along with, I don't know what I want to do. I'm not quite there. Tender. Okay, that's good. Can we be tender even to ourselves? Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can't. And sometimes other people aren't tender to us. Talent and time. Okay, I like that. Talent and time and tender. And I said, in order for us to get back to where we are ardent about something, I said we have to remain thirsty. I remember, I remember when I first heard that term. It was when I was decided to go back for my doctorate, and I remember talking to another person who happened to be a doctor, and MBA and a big time chair of a program around the country, and he said, "Well, Sandy, I tell you, you have to stay thirsty." And he said, "That doesn't mean that you drink a little bit and it's enough." He said, "No, you got to remain where it's never enough. You never get enough." And I love that. I said, because I love, the idea that means I'm going to remain excited about whatever I'm involved in. I'm going to remain ardent. And it says, so therefore, showing urgent desire or attraction. So therefore, I'm going to remain, on that road to writing or reading something, singing something, doing something. I'm going to do that. As long as the man upstairs lets me do it, I'm going to be doing it. So it says excited, eager, enthusiastic. There it is again. Hungry, thirsty and hungry. I think they go hand in hand. Thirsty and hungry. Anxious, avid, pumped, ready, geeked out. How many of us have ever been geeked out about something? Stoked. So we don't know what it is that may turn us away from being ardent, but never, as they say, but nevertheless, that means there's something else coming. There should be a way for us to get back into what it is that we were given to do. We have talent at, we will create time for, we will make it our tender opportunity to do what makes sense. And that is remain in the things that we can control. Think about the things that we can control. Think about the things that make us happy. Think about the things that keep us where we become ardent souls. And I tell you, this has been, one of those years where everything has changed quickly. We see that, do we not? We see it. We see where people, that we may know are being affected by some of the things that are going on. And it may be us. It may be us. It may be that there's a program that we are dealing with that currently we're doing okay, but will that change in the future? We don't know. But what it is that we have to remain or get back into a reason to be ardent for our own, self-worth, our own self-rise, our own self-preserve. We just have to look at life beyond what it is that we just hear on TV or hear in our cars on the radio or something, or in conversations, because sometimes we're privy to conversation that really we shouldn't have heard. Nonetheless, doesn't change anything. We still need to be ardent for ourselves. Listen, that's it for today. That is it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. I'm still back to trying to do more words that make sense, and also can give you words that are conversation pieces. It says, keep it moving, whatever your stress. That's right, releaser is. That's right, Joan. You have to keep it moving. And everybody knows that there's sometimes we can't change the things that we see, but we might change the way we react to them. Plain and simple. Change the way we react to them. Oh yeah, okay. Got that. But listen, have a wonderful weekend. It is Mardi Gras weekend. If you're going to any of the festivities, either here or over in Mobile, be safe. Take care of yourselves. Lock your cars, because there are people, they say, that are running around either breaking in cars or either just going in. I just have a a loud alarm on my car, and I try not to leave nothing in there except maybe I'm always cold, so they can probably get a coat or a jacket of some sort, but an umbrella. But that's about it. That's about it. But I'll be back on Monday with another word from Are You Stuck? Yeah, sometimes we get stuck, but words can get us to a point where we're able to have conversations from children to a king and a queen. Let's have it. Let's have that conversation. Hit the share button and let them know I'm out here. That's all you have to do. And I appreciate you so much. And I will see you again on Monday. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Love you. Bye-bye.